You want to know what real Texas stubborn looks like? Picture an old man who's just spent his whole life fixing roads for other people, only to get his own road blocked by some folks who figured he'd just sit back and take it. Except he didn't. He flipped the whole thing on its head, built a toll gate, and made them pay every single time they wanted to drive past his land. Yeah, that actually happened. My name's Calvin Merriweather, and this is how a handful of people learned you don't fence off a man's peace and expect him to just nod and move on. I've never been one for rushing. I move the way a good storm rolls and steady, quiet, letting the wind speak first. Spent 38 years in San Bernardino patching up roads, chasing city contracts, getting called the guy with the shovel by people in shirts so white you'd think they were allergic to the sun. By the time I retired, my back felt like gravel and my patience was thin as old coffee. That's when I bought a patch of Texas earth dry, rough, nothing much to look at but open sky and possibility. I didn't need a palace, just a place for a couple of chickens, maybe a horse, enough room to breathe and teach city kids how to grow tomatoes with their bare hands, not with YouTube tutorials. The land wasn't pretty rusted fences, weeds taller than my knees, a shed that looked like it survived the Civil War, but I loved it. Didn't care about homeowners associations or community standards. The real estate guy told me, the HOA's over there, you're out of bounds, don't sweat it. And I didn't, not until a white SUV started rolling by slow, windows up, never waving back. One day, Rita Hallbrook, the HOA president, stepped out, folder in hand, talking about visual continuity and aesthetic value. I told her plain, not in your little kingdom, so your rules don't apply. She just smiled, tight and polite, and you know the type some folks never hear what they don't like. Didn't think much more of it until I woke up one morning, poured my burnt coffee, and found a shiny new chain-link fence blocking the only paved road to my house. No warning, no letter, just steel links planted overnight. Whoever did it didn't even have the decency to hide the fresh cement. My truck was on my side, at least, but I couldn't get out. I tried to talk to the HOA. Knocked, called, left notes nobody answered. For days, deliveries stopped. The propane guy cursed me out for making him haul tanks across gravel. The mail carrier didn't bother. The fence was their message. We decide who gets to belong. Now, my niece Alyssa was living with me for a bit. She's got kidney trouble, needed dialysis in Elgin twice a week. That Tuesday, the transport driver couldn't reach the house. Roads blocked. GPS won't help, he said. We missed her appointment. That night, Alyssa asked me, are they allowed to do this? I didn't answer, just sat on the porch, staring at that fence like it owed me money. You don't win against people with bylaws by yelling. You flip the script. Next morning, I drove to the county clerk with every paper I'd ever signed about that land. Shelby Cantor, the clerk, didn't want to get involved until I put the deed, survey, everything on her desk. Turns out, the road wasn't theirs to claim. They just thought you wouldn't fight back, she said. I grinned. Let's see how they handle paperwork. Got myself a lawyer named Elias Boots, sunflower seeds, and a mind built for Texas loopholes. They think you're out here planting tomatoes. Good, he said. We got the county to reclassify the road as a private access path. Permits, zoning reviews, not a single camera, just a stack of signatures. The day the permit came through, I paid cash for a steel gate with a keypad, solar backup, and plate recognition. Didn't bother with speeches or warnings, just put up. Programmed in Alyssa, the EMTs, a few neighbors. Everyone else? $5 per trip, plate scanned automatically, pay online or not at all. At first, people thought I was bluffing. Then the bills started coming. Try to sneak through, and the camera sent a notice. The community's Facebook page blew up. Some called me a hero. Some said extortionist. Even a local news showed up, but all I said was, if you block a man's home, don't be shocked when he builds a way out. HOA board members were late to work. Delivery vans went the long way. School drop-offs took twice as long. Rita Hallbrook was fuming, called me, yelling about traffic hazards. It's a private road now, ma'am. Your fence forced my hand. Click. Didn't bother me. I wasn't after revenge, just respect. Alyssa watched the news clip, grinned, said they're finally listening. But the real shift didn't come until a neighbor, Luis Navarrete, a history teacher, knocked at my gate with a 20. Some of us don't agree with what they did. You got done wrong. That 20 paid for a new keypad after someone dumped soda on it. Next, a couple dropped off tamales. A teenager volunteered to help with my chickens. Not everyone came around. Rita never softened, but cracks appeared. Then the HOA tried to sue me for disrupting neighborhood harmony. The letter was all legal bluster, no real teeth. My lawyer wrote back, no jurisdiction, roads private, tolls legal, end of story. I pushed harder, filed for the whole road to be a maintenance zone. Put up signs, private road toll required. Even hired a landscaping crew to add speed bumps and bollards. Funny thing, the HOA's own supplier delivered the materials. More bills, more frustration. Eventually, parents, contractors, even babysitters started knocking, wanting exemptions from the toll. I lowered the toll for registered cars, raised it for the serial offenders. I didn't want to punish regular folks, just make the board feel the pain they dealt out so casually. People started to see the difference between the board and me. Notes appeared in my mailbox: thank yous, apologies, plate numbers for easier access. Still, Rita doubled down complaints to the county, emergency meetings, newsletters with my land circled in red. Someone spray-painted Rita's mess on the HOA clubhouse. Emails leaked showing she'd gone rogue on the original fence, spending HOA money without approval. That was the beginning of the end for her. Finally, a new letter, this one polite, asked for a truce. Take down the toll, we'll remove the fence. I walked the land, thinking it over. My lawyer said I could push for damages, maybe sue. But what was the win worth if it just punished people who weren't even the problem anymore? I wanted my peace back, not a new war. So I called a meeting. No court, no lawyers. Just a folding table by the gate, sweet tea, a sign that said community talk. Nearly 50 people came, some friends, some former enemies. I told them, I didn't build this gate for revenge. I did it because you blocked my road and ignored my voice. All I want now is respect. Not apologies, just respect for boundaries. Then I surprised even myself. I'm taking the gate down not as surrender, but because you finally understand what it feels like to be shut out. First, silence, then relief. People brought gifts, shook my hand. Even Rita nodded and walked away without a word. The fence vanished, the gate came down, and life went back to what it should have been. Tomatoes in the ground, chickens in the run. Alyssa on the porch writing in her journal, trying to make sense of the mess without raising her voice. I realized sometimes you win by letting go, by refusing to become the thing you fought against. Now I sit on my porch, old dog at my feet, nothing left to defend but my peace. The road's open. Neighbors wave. They don't always remember my name, but they remember the lesson. You don't get to fence off a man's home just because it suits you. And if you're out there listening, if you've ever been boxed in by someone else's rules, let my story remind you. You don't have to fight loud to make your point, you just have to stand where it matters and hold the line. So, tell Mua's Calvin right to stand his ground, or did he go too far? Was the HOA protecting the neighborhood or crossing the line? Let's hear your thoughts about justice, community, and where you draw your own fence.